as we speak. But looking at the death toll currently as we speak, it stands at 2,000. These are new deaths, 2,955 plus. But the total number of deaths as a result of coronavirus globally now stands at 167,986. Now, this is the global picture as we speak. I want us to explore some bit of continents that have been on the hotspot. Let's begin with Europe. And in Europe, we see countries like Spain, for instance, are recording cases of 200,210 total cases, and in the last 24 hours they've recorded 1,536 plus cases. So remember, these numbers keep rising. But looking at the death toll, currently in Spain, 20,852 people have died. Italy, you can see there 24,114 people have died. And of course, France, looking at France, 19,718 people have died. Let me look at another continent here, and the North America. You see a country like the USA recording quite high numbers of positive cases of coronavirus, standing at 770,981 cases. And of course, in the last few hours, they've recorded 6,345 plus. This is a trend that is different from what you're currently witnessing in the country. We've been recording 12, 11, 8 cases, but you see other countries that are as high as 6,000 cases in just a day. Total deaths now stands at 41,349 deaths as a result of COVID-19. Looking at a country that is just in that same region, Mexico, 8,261 total cases of COVID-19. And this actually, the death toll in that particular country stands at 686,000. It's interesting to see closer home. Let me take you to the African continent just to find out closer home how are you faring when it comes to the coronavirus pandemic. South Africa is among the countries that are recording very high cases of coronavirus, having 3,158 positive cases so far, with 54 cases. In Africa generally, we are having 23,304 cases and, of course, 1,140 cases of deaths. I'd like to just take us quickly to countries in the East African region. I've seen countries like Djibouti here. Let me just get to see. Yes, let me take you through numbers that are closer home. Kenya, I told you 281. This is as per today. 11 cases were recorded in the last 24 hours, according to the presser by the Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe. 14 deaths so far as a result of COVID-19. So far, the numbers of people who have recovered stands at 69. And in Tanzania, we have 170 cases. 7 deaths, and of course 11 cases of people who have recovered. Kenya, by the way, stands at position 3 in the East African region when it comes to coronavirus cases, and this is coming ahead of countries like Djibouti that have recorded about 800,000 cases, and countries like Mauritius that have recorded 328 cases of coronavirus. I want to see a country like Rwanda. Rwanda, we have 147 cases of positive coronavirus cases, and Somalia have recorded 164 total cases of coronavirus, of course, with seven deaths both for Tanzania and Somalia. And these are just numbers that keep rising, like I told you earlier. So any minute from now, you could be getting different figures. In Uganda, where strict measures have been taken when it comes to combating the spread of coronavirus, so far they have 55 cases. But you can see how far they've gone, the extent to which they've gone to ensure that it does not spread any further. So far, I cannot see any number that has been recorded as deaths under the category in Tanzania. We will be looking at how that pans out as well. But these are just numbers that we are getting from the African continent. South Sudan has recorded, these are among the countries in Africa that are recording low cases of coronavirus as we speak. Among them include South Sudan, 4 cases, West Sahara, 6 cases, Burundi, 5 cases, and Mauritania at 7 cases. Of course, this is just some of the countries that we have for you, but the numbers keep rising, and we'll be making sure that we stay on track just to make sure that we update you. We've worked on quite a number of stories as well that will tell you how we are progressing in mitigating the spread of this particular virus. But on this day that we recorded 281 cases, what exactly is going on? Here are the highlights.
Preparing for impending danger, government warns of potential disasters in the wake of heavy rains pounding most parts of the country.
11 more persons have tested positive for the disease today, bringing the total to 281.
And government warns those flouting Ministry of Health guidelines of painful consequences as the number of COVID-19 positive cases rise to 281. And 39 women attending a wedding in the city's Komarok estate among those forced into quarantine for floating laid-down guidelines.
A very good evening to you. My name is Serfine Achieng Oma, and our sign language interpreter is Byron Abuli. Let's begin straight away. The government, in collaboration with the county governments, has set up an interdepartmental team to deal with potential disasters resulting from heavy rains expected across the country over the next 3 months. Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko, and his devolution counterpart Eugene Wamalwa say they are coordinating efforts to move those in high-risk areas to higher grounds, as well as coordinating distribution of relief supplies to those already affected by the floods and mudslides.
Heed the warning. Listen to what the leaders are saying. Move to higher and safer grounds. That is our message.
The weatherman predicting more than average rainfall across most of the country with the onset of long rains between the months of March to May. The government is scaling up efforts to not just cushion but ensure populations living in high-risk areas move to safer grounds to avoid impending calamities. I
can tell clearly from this rain that we are going to have challenges of flooding in some parts of the country. This morning, our Principal Secretary for Interior, Dr. Kibicho, has put out a cable to all county commissioners and regional commissioners in the country to work with Ngao infrastructure across the country to ensure that we move all the populations in mudslide-prone areas to safe places. I am talking about Muranga, Taita Taveta, Elgeyo Marakwet, West Pokot, and we are looking at the counties of Garissa, Tana River, and parts of Kitui, where we are likely to have certain challenges.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko, and his devolution counterpart Eugene Wamalwa say the national government, in collaboration with various counties, are already working on plans to ensure that they cushion people from adverse effects witnessed in previous years due to floods and mudslides.
On behalf of national government, we have already responded and sent support in terms of food and non-food items to support all the affected families. And we want to assure them and to assure the counties that the national government will continue giving them this support, not just in Elgeyo Marakwet and West Pokot, but in all the counties affected by these floods. We are talking of Kisumu County, we are talking of Busia, at the coast Tana River. We will continue giving them the necessary support in terms of relief food and non-food items.
The Cabinet Secretary is saying the government has embarked on delivery of foods and other essentials to victims of mudslides witnessed in Endo and Chesogon areas along the Elgeyo Marakwet West Pokot boundary Saturday.
But we are also urging the counties that with climate change, we will continue having these disasters. They must set aside enough resources in their emergency funds where the law allows them to do that, and to able to realign their budgets to address this disaster.
While calling on Kenyans to seriously heed advisories issued by the Kenya Meteorological Department, Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko called on Kenyans to take advantage of the rains to plant more trees to avert damage caused by the floods. The weekend mudslides in West Pokot claimed 4 lives, while the search and rescue operations for 20 who are missing is still ongoing. Caroline Kamar reporting for Channel 1 News.
Now on the daily coronavirus update, 11 more people have tested positive for coronavirus over the last 24 hours, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 281. Within this period, an additional 2 people, including a doctor, were discharged after registering 2 consecutive negative results. The latest numbers coming as Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe oversaw the launch of an isolation and treatment facility for health workers at the Kenyatta National Hospital that will offer both critical and basic care services.
Healthcare workers who are the first line of defense in the fight against COVID-19 received a major boost on Monday after Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe oversaw the launch of an isolation and treatment center at the Kenyatta National Hospital. The center, put up through a partnership between the Ministry of Health, AMREF and Rockefeller Foundation, will offer critical care to health workers who are exposed to more danger in fighting COVID-19, with all costs said to be met by the government.
We are today launching a special designated isolation and treatment facility for our healthcare workers. All costs incurred during treatment shall be met by the government.
This even as the number of confirmed coronavirus cases rose to 281, with an additional 2 people, including a doctor, recovering.
11 more persons have tested positive for the disease today, bringing the total to 281. And I can confirm that the herbalist who died in Mombasa, Old Town, the 3 in that area, in the Old Town, are actually contacts of the herbalist who died in the same area. And there goes the whole idea, and why we are always talking about keeping distance. The other 4 are from Nairobi, and those ones are from Ruaka.
And with recent cases of people flouting government regulations, over 400 people are in mandatory quarantine for failing to adhere to the set guidelines.
We have also quarantined 455 other persons for defying national curfew regulations. And I think this is important to note, because once you are out during curfew hours, it is assumed that you have now been exposed, and therefore, if you are taken, you will be taken to a quarantine site for 14 days at your own cost.
The government action coming as the coronavirus threat spread its tentacles to almost all counties, with those under Nairobi Metropolitan being more vulnerable. For instance, Machakos County has 7 cases spread out in Syokimau, Athi River, Kamulu, Ruby Garden Estate, Githunguni and Viraji. In Kiambu County, Githurai 45, Ndongoru, Thendigwa, Tinganga and Waithaka and Watalam are recorded cases. In Kajiado County, the cases are spread out in Kitengela, Matasia, Ongata Rongai, with Murang'a County reporting 2 cases in Gatanga and Lumumba Drive. Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
Thank you, Nancy, for that update. In another story, a total of 70 individuals will spend their time in forced quarantine for the next 14 days or more after they were arrested flouting social distancing regulations. The affected are 39 women who were arrested attending a wedding in Nairobi's Komarok Estate, and another group of 31 individuals who were apprehended by the police while engaging in activities against the government's directive banning all public gatherings in light of the coronavirus outbreak.
Nasra Estate in Komarok Sunday evening. Women congregate for a wedding, a noble ceremony, yes. But the event happened at a time the government had instituted a ban on all social gatherings. It also happened to be beyond the stipulated time for the day's activity, breaching curfew regulations. This contravention would attract the police, who upon a tip-off from members of the public swung into action. Kayole Police Boss Wilson Kosgei says the group will spend the next 14 days under mandatory quarantine as part of the war against COVID-19 spread.
When we came to verify that information, it was true. We found 39 women of middle-aged. We are told there was a wedding And this time when the government has really come out to say there's no gathering. So there was gathering that started very early in the morning. Most of the women here, most of them are coming from Isili. They came to have a fun and also have a party in Nasra. So we have arrested all of them.
But the 39 women are not the only guests of the state. Another 31 individuals who were arrested within Kayole and Ruai areas over the weekend have been thrown into quarantine at Kenya Medical Training College.
Ukikaidi amri ya serikali, it is an insult to the government. Why should people gather when people are spreading diseases? I'm not saying...
Addressing the apparent disregard of the law and order by a section of Kenyans, the police are promising to stop at nothing to ensure all and sundry follow directives issued as the country copes with COVID-19 pandemic.
And those are drunkards. They were caught kujienjoy, walikuwa nakunywa pombe. Sasa waende 14 days forced quarantine ambayo watalipa wenyewe. So itakuwa an example kwa wale wengine ambaye, na hata saizi jioni tumepata watu wengi sana wako police station. So we shall be guided by our commander tomorrow.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Gladys Mongai.
Now, doctors in Trans Nzoia County are threatening to down their tools if the county administration fails to settle 2 months' salary arrears allegedly owed to them. The medics claim that the county administration has done little to address their grievances in the wake of threats posed by the COVID-19 disease. Their concerns coming as the country grapples with the effects of the coronavirus pandemic that has left 281 people infected in the country.
The country has been on edge ever since the first positive case of COVID-19 was announced, with the government pronouncing a raft of mitigation mechanisms to contain its spread. And with the threat now spreading across most of the country, doctors in Trans Nzoia County are threatening to down their tools, accusing the county administration of allegedly overlooking the welfare of health workers since the launch of a campaign to fight the spread of coronavirus. The doctors now want the county government to pay their salaries within 7 days, failure to which they will down their tools.
Na sisi mpaka saa hizi hatuna mshahara, tunaumia na njaa. Tunahitaji kusikizwa, kaunti yetu haijatupatia nafasi ya kupeana mazungumzo yetu, wasikie shida tunazo za mshahara.
Kama watakuwa wametekeleza haya matakwa, sisi tutaweka tools zetu chini na mtu asitublame. Tumejaribu yetu yote yenye tuyawezavyo, lakini hakuna mtu anatilia ombi letu maanani.
The medics painted a picture of a devastated workforce that has to put up with delayed salaries and a lack of personal protective equipment while waging war against the pandemic.
Sisi tuweze kuwaona nyinyi kama wagonjwa wetu wa Trans Nzoia, lazima pia sisi tuwe na kinga. Otherwise pia sisi tutakuwa madaktari hatari wenye kueneza ugonjwa huu wa corona.
And the leadership of this county, we are putting you to task to ensure that doctors are well protected. Otherwise, when you call us, when you need us, and we refuse to appear, all the blame will be on your hands.
Meanwhile, religious leaders in Nakuru County now want to be involved in distribution of relief food and supplies to ensure that only deserving cases adversely affected by COVID-19 outbreak benefit. The leaders said stringent measures should be put in place to ensure that a few greedy individuals do not take advantage of the exercise to enrich themselves.
Kama wanagawa chakula yoyote ya msaada kwa ajili ya wale watu ambao wako na njaa na shida, ninawaomba tu kwa huruma ya Mwenyezi Mungu washirikiane na wachungaji. Maana wachungaji ndio wanabeba wale watu wana mashida aina mbalimbali.
Elsewhere, the war against COVID-19 disease in Kisumu County received a major boost after a local farm donated 30 beds to boost quarantine bed capacity in the area. The donation by Abyssinia Iron and Steel Company Limited, among other interventions, will bring the county's installed quarantine bed capacity to 398. Speaking after receiving the donation at Lumumba Sub-County Hospital in Kisumu, Governor Anyang' Nyong'o said additional beds shall be installed at the facility, which has the capacity of holding 70 patients.
We have KMTC with 128 bed capacity, and we are in the process of completing a 200-bed center at the county referral facility near the Jomo Kenyatta Sports Ground. We are now going around identifying suitable institutions in the sub-counties that can also be equipped to be used as quarantine centers.
And in Kilifi County, those caught floating directives as set out by the Ministry of Health will be arrested and forced to quarantine at their cost. Kilifi County Governor Amason Kingi is expressing concern on how people casually ignore government directives despite the dangers posed by the deadly disease. Kingi directed all sub-chiefs, village elders and county administrators to ensure directives issued by the national government are adhered to.
Kwa hivyo wako hapo polisi, tutawatoa leo. Tumewaandalia pahali ambao tutawashika pale kwa siku 14. Baada ya hapo tutawapima, alafu ndo waachilie. Iwe lile funzo la watu wengine ambao watatoka.
And mass testing for the coronavirus has kicked off at the port of Mombasa for the employees of the Kenya Ports Authority on Sunday. Acting Managing Director Engineer Rashid Salim and General Manager Operations and Harbour Master Captain William Ruto coordinated the exercise and were among the first 50 KPA staff to undergo the COVID-19 test.
We're taking the measure to ensure that everybody is tested. And all our workers we are testing today, we are starting with the confectional cargo operations. Tomorrow we will do also the security and also container terminal operations. Those are the key areas where we cannot stop operations because the port works 24/7 a day.
Beatrice Gatonyengetich, Channel 1 News.
Remember, we are also streaming this for you online on YouTube and on Facebook at KBC Channel 1. Thank you for those who are joining us via those platforms. And you can also use them to engage and interact with us. Or you can engage with me directly at Serfine_Achieng on Twitter and on Facebook at Serfine Achieng. We are taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll be letting you know whether Kenya is ready to embrace online education in the wake of the outbreak of coronavirus that has affected the academic calendar. Do stay for that.
Virusi vya korona vinazidi kuenea haraka kote ulimwenguni, na kwa sasa hakuna dawa au chanjo ya kuzuia. Husambaa wakati vijitone kutoka kwa mtu aliyeambukizwa vinaporuka akiongea, kukohoa au kupiga chafya. Vijitone hivi hutua kwenye sehemu ambazo mikono hushika na huwezi kuviona, lakini hata kama huvioni haimaanishi kuwa hakuna, na unaweza kuambukizwa unapogusa uso wako, pua, mdomo au macho. Ili kusaidia kuzuia kuenea kwa virusi hivi, sote tunahitajika kufanya mambo matano. 1. Fuata hatua hizi: kuosha mikono yako mara kwa mara na sabuni na maji kwa angalau sekunde 40. 2. Funika mdomo wako na kiwiko wakati wote unapokohoa au kupiga chafya. 3. Usishike uso wako. 4. Epuka sehemu zenye watu wengi. Weka umbali salama baina yako na wenzako. 5. Kaa nyumbani ukiweza, hasa ikiwa una dalili zozote za ugonjwa. Kwa maelezo zaidi tembelea www.who.int.
Next on.
Bei yetu inavutia zaidi.
Wako gizani na sepa tuko wazi. Hali hii haina kikwetu.
Jehe, nisikilize, usinidhulumu. Itawaambia ichimbue mitishamba yako mibovu na kuiondoa yote kabisa na kuyaangusha mabanda yako mabovu.
Niambie, ni jinsi gani ulivyoshughulikia hilo jambo? Naomba msamaha.
Welcome back. And now the Ministry of Education is under fire over claims that all learners in the country are benefiting from online education. According to Mwingi Central Member of Parliament Gideon Mulyungi, the remarks made by Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha do not reflect the actual state of affairs, especially in rural areas where learners have been left out due to lack of infrastructure to support digital learning.
On Sunday, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha poured cold water into the possibility of a postponement of this year's national examinations. In dismissing these fears, Magoha noted that learning is on course via online platforms.
Up to this moment, nobody has thought of postponing the examinations, the national examinations, both the primary school exams and the secondary school exams. And to the best of the government's ability, the children are getting online learning, as I stated last week.
This stance has not been received well by a section of the populace. Mwingi Central Member of Parliament Gideon Mulyungi, for instance, has said that the remarks made by the Education CS do not reflect the actual situation across the country.
From the perspective of my constituency and the picture in most parts of the country, this is not happening and it is a total lie. The CS is speaking from the ivory tower in Nairobi and is not in touch with the reality on the ground.
He argues that in the rural areas, for example, online education is impractical due to lack of the necessary infrastructure.
Students in the rural villages and some urban areas cannot afford this imaginary luxury of online teaching during this period of COVID-19 pandemic.
In his opinion, the Ministry of Education ought to conduct a mop-up exercise and work out a strategy of ensuring that all learners are catered for, especially considering that a majority of families are facing hard economic times.
He should come to Kitui, visit some families and see how they are doing it in the villages where people don't even have houses. Just visit them there, where people stay in manned houses, some don't even have a shelter. And see the situation on the ground.
The concern comes even as the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers supported the government rollout of virtual learning. Indeed, Kupet Kisii chapter argues that all education stakeholders ought to adhere to the stipulated measures to help curb coronavirus spread. The union has, however, criticized the decision to utilize learning institutions as coronavirus isolation centers, warning that this move may have psychological impacts on learners when schools reopen.
When our students go back to school, they might be affected psychologically, having learned that their schools, their items were used by corona patients.
Let me now take you to Machakos County. The Machakos Stadium has been transformed into a health facility that will serve as a temporary mass screening and treatment area for COVID-19 patients as the county administration moves to enhance its capacity. Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua says the move seeks to free the Machakos Level 5 Hospital from being a treatment and isolation center for coronavirus as part of efforts aimed at curbing its spread among patients. Meanwhile, Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho has launched the distribution of relief supplies to thousands of vulnerable populations who are living in the region's urban centers.
Governor Ali Hassan Joho has emerged as one of the most proactive county bosses, launching a series of initiatives aimed at containing the spread of COVID-19 in one of the counties regarded as a hotspot in the country. On Monday, Joho would launch the distribution of relief food targeting about 50,000 urban poor households in the county, this being the first phase of an exercise that seeks to cushion them from the hard economic times.
If we are wise enough to understand and to be able to deal or basically adhere to the regulations that have been given, my friend, we can be able to deal with COVID-19 within the shortest time possible.
The governor urging area residents to observe guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health as part of efforts aimed at flattening the infection curve. Mombasa County Commissioner Gilbert Kichiyo warning that the government will take stern measures to all those who defy government directives.
Kwa hivyo hiyo enforcement itaongezwa. Sababu tunataka watu wakae nyumbani. Nataka watu wafae mask. Watu obey mambo ya social distance. Hiyo ndio njia tu ambayo labda mwananchi mwingine atapata kuielewa.
In Machakos County, the Machakos Stadium has been converted into a health facility. Area Governor Alfred Mutua says the facility can hold up to 1,000 isolation beds with 200 set aside for critical COVID-19 patients.
I decided, and my government decided, we had a cabinet, that we have money to compensate our health workers. Because our askari ndio wako frontline, ndio wanapigwa bunduki. Ile risasi ya kwanza ya hii virus inakutana na hao health workers. Lazima tuwapatie bulletproof hizo nguo na bulletproof pia ya pesa ya kuweza kuwamotivate wafanye kazi.
Mutua says Machakos Level 5 Hospital is well equipped for COVID-19 mass testing and is only awaiting a go-ahead from KEMRI. The county now has 228 persons in quarantine, with a further 1,056 having had completed the quarantine and turned out negative.
Wacheni kutuenjoy hii tamaa yenyu tuwamalize ilimaliza fisi. Huu ni wakati wa kujali wale vijana ambao biashara imefungwa watakula nini. Wale watu wamefutwa kazi watakula nini. They should be thinking about how to set up a cushioning, a benefit of economics to help our people.
Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
Now, healthcare practitioners are pushing for the release of results for COVID-19 tests undertaken on their colleagues in a bid to reduce anxiety among frontline workers. The Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union now says the move is necessary given that a number of them are in a state of fear due to the risk of exposure arising from inadequate personal protective equipment.
Delaying the release of the results for COVID-19 tests done on healthcare workers has attracted the attention of Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union. The union is urging the state to disclose the health status of personnel who stand at the front line in the fight against coronavirus.
Healthcare workers who were tested last week and they are yet to receive their results. It is a good initiative, but let's also, for the sake of the healthcare workers' mental health and assurance, provide these results within the 48-hour timeline.
According to the union acting Secretary General Chibanzi Mochoda, failure to have the results on time has left a number of key sectors players nervous and unable to execute their mandate.
It's information that will make people see and Kenyans see that they also need to protect their healthcare workers, because healthcare workers are not immune to this disease. Where it is not safe, then they shall follow the law, they shall take a step back, raise that issue with the immediate authorities in that facility, and shall only be able to continue once those issues are raised.
The union also wants provision of adequate protective gears to healthcare personnel to alleviate fears of possible infections.
Healthcare workers in isolation centers instead of having them in the areas where they're supposed to work in. It will be disastrous if a Kenyan has to go to the hospital and find no healthcare worker.
At the same time, the union is urging county governments not to intimidate health workers over protracted labor disputes, as this is counterproductive in the war against COVID-19.
Who are deployed and currently working in the National Teaching and Referral Hospitals. We have received information on threats to stoppage of salaries for these doctors. We take a strong stand against such actions.
They also want recruitment of extra healthcare workers hastened to boost the country's effort towards fighting coronavirus that has seen 14 people lose their lives to the pandemic. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Gladys Mungai.
And to our health workers, they are the ones who are on the spot, on the front line during this particular time. They're doing a good job and we really commend them and even wish that more could be done to ensure that they are safe in line of duty. Now, moving on, local textile and garments manufacturing companies have moved to take advantage of the current demand for locally manufactured protective gear. In the wake of the coronavirus outbreak in the country, the demand has seen local companies such as Thicker Cloth Mills Limited take a leading in production of gears, including donating some of the products to vulnerable communities.
As the government continues to grapple with the effects of coronavirus that have resulted in job losses and a slowdown of the economy, with associated effects hitting hard on Kenyans, with those living in urban centers struggling to provide basic necessities as well as protective gear such as masks for their families. And with the government making it mandatory for Kenyans to wear masks in public places in a bid to curb the spread of COVID-19 disease, an initiative by local manufacturing companies that seeks to cushion families living in informal settlements from lacking protective gear has been launched.
There are about 2 million people in the slums in Nairobi and 8 million people outside Nairobi in the slums. So we're trying to help as much as we can.
2 masks in each box, so each family will get 2 masks. The masks need to be washed thoroughly with hot water and soap, and then they can use them.
The initiative spearheaded by Thika Cloth Mill Limited saw residents of Kibra and the Ministry of Interior and Coordination receive over 20,000 masks so as to aid in the fight against coronavirus.
So if you look at the masks we've donated here today, the 10,000 masks, they're all different. Some have string, and they're made of different qualities, made of different cottons, and they're all really good and they're all really nice because all the garment factories know what kind of specs to follow, and they've been told which is the best way to make the mask, and all the garment factories have made the mask.
These even as they called on Kenyans to promote the local textile industries and garments manufacturers, as they are now able to manufacture protective gear so as to join in the production of face masks.
This has an opportunity of, this is something we can do. We can make masks, we can make cotton masks. It will benefit the cotton farmer, it benefits the textile factory.
These masks made in Kenya, because this is helping create some employment here, especially at this very critical time. However, I pray and hope that even after the coronavirus, may the government continue that momentum of buying products made in Kenya. That way, we'll be able to uplift the quality of life of the average Kenyan citizen.
Hili janga la COVID-19 limetufunza kama Wakenya kwamba tuko na uwezo wa kufanya kazi sisi wenyewe locally.
The business owners urging the political class to join hands and support vulnerable members of the society. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Thank you, Jackie, for that report. Now, looking at the coronavirus pandemic globally, countries around the globe are still grappling with the impact of coronavirus pandemic. With more than 2.4 million infections confirmed worldwide, 166,000 people have so far succumbed to the disease. Europe continues to bear the brunt of the pandemic, with positive cases now going beyond 1 million, while the US has 760,000 confirmed cases. Africa has, however, reported the lowest number of confirmed cases, standing at 22,000.
As the coronavirus pandemic continues to ravage the globe, the number of reported cases keeps rising. The death toll from the pandemic now stands at 166,000, as 2.4 million people are confirmed to have contracted the disease globally. On the positive side, more than 632,000 have recovered from the disease. According to the latest figures, Europe continues to record the highest number of cases, which currently stand at 1,046,854. The 5 countries reporting most cases are Spain at 195,944, Italy at 178,972, Germany has 141,672, United Kingdom at 120,067, while France stands at 112,606. America, on the other hand, has reported nearly 900,000 cases. Brazil at 38,654 and Canada at 34,777. In the meantime, lockdown restrictions are being lifted in some parts of Europe. Denmark, Germany and the Czech Republic are reopening some shops, while pupils in Norway are now returning to kindergarten, while Poland is allowing people to visit parks and forests. India is also following the trend by relaxing some lockdown rules in non-virus hotspots, with agricultural businesses, public work programs, banks and cargo transport allowed to resume normalcy. France and Spain have both decided against a relaxation of measures for now. At the same time, China has opened 73 major tourist sites, including areas along the Great Wall. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Now, health experts have described wearing a face mask as one of the preventive measures that can limit the spread of certain respiratory viral diseases, including COVID-19. And with the government making it mandatory for everyone to put on a mask as a precaution against the spread of the deadly virus, there has been a mad rush by Kenyans to acquire one. But how should one wear a mask, and how do you ensure that it is safely disposed of after use?
masks, which are also meant for healthcare workers who are in contact with patients or suspected patients at quarantine centers. And this one is still also a preservative for healthcare providers. Now, this surgical mask is in 3 layers. For you to use it, you need to make sure that this strip is facing up. Of course, before you don it, you have to wash your hands, perform hand hygiene properly, then you don it appropriately the way I'm doing. So you will tie it at the back with a loose knot that will enable you to remove. Then this one you adjust to fit well. You bring it below your ears. Then you perform the check to make sure that every part of the nose and the mouth is completely covered. Then you also use the nose strip to make sure that it is tightly fitting. Now at this juncture, I want to explain 1 or 2 things. That why do we use the mask at the community level? It is believed that the virus is now with us, and you cannot know who has the virus and who does not have it. And we know that when somebody sneezes, somebody coughs, the droplets are produced. These droplets, the heavier ones, will fall near here, but the tiny, tiny droplets that we call aerosols will be suspended in the air for a while. So the purpose of instructing community members to put on masks is to protect them from what could be suspended in the atmosphere in the name of aerosols. So it is very good for us to understand that, so that the community members do not continue asking us why should we be forced to use it. It is not forcing, it is a preventive measure taken to make sure that if I am sick as Omondi and I have the mask, then the aerosols cannot come out from me. And if I'm closer to you, then you are not able to get aerosols from me that can affect you. So in removal, I will still go back, perform my hand hygiene very well. Then I will begin by loosening the lower one. Then I come and loosen the upper one. And then I remove it to fall into that waste management receptacle. Now at the community level, you may realize we do not have hand sanitizers. So we encourage people to wash hands with flowing water after every procedure that you do.
One of our viewers here, Kioko from Thika, is suggesting that I look for a yellow mask. I see that could look nice. Kioko, thank you for that suggestion. But again, remember, it's not about the color, it's about the quality of the mask. It should be 3-ply, and the World Health Organization, even the Ministry of Health, has issued quite a number of guidelines on what should guide you when you're purchasing a mask. I know a high-quality mask comes at a cost, but cheap is also expensive. Remember, you should look for one that will genuinely and really protect you from contracting coronavirus. But then others have also raised the question, we are all now putting on masks, but why are you doing that? Is it because you fear being fined 20,000 or being jailed for 6 months, or you really want to protect yourself? Think about that question and do the right thing. Now let's move on. Water Services Regulatory Board has published a set of water vending guidelines that aims at ensuring that water distributed to consumers is of optimum quality. In the new guidelines, to be enforced by the Athi River Works Development Agency, all small-scale water service providers within the Nairobi metropolis will be required to apply for an operating license by the 15th of May 2020. Any person who shall provide water services without the license will be liable for prosecution. Have a look.
Nairobi Metropolis requires about 760,000 cubic meters of water per day. It is this demand that has seen an upsurge of water vendors, a situation that is now proving to be a challenge, especially due to the lack of proper regulations that guide the water business. The Water Services Regulatory Board has now published strict water vending guidelines to be enforced by the Athi River Works Development Agency as it moves to restore sanity in the sector. Athi River Works Development Agency CEO, Engineer Michael Mwangi Thwita, has said that the new directives are aimed at ensuring that water distributed to consumers is of optimum quality, especially in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic.
In the wake of COVID, now the public health issues are being taken very, very seriously, and every drop of water that is being consumed in Nairobi, either for domestic or even hand washing, the quality check is very, very important.
Part of the new developments also include the use of an app that will link consumers to licensed water providers.
The consumers of the water will be able to enter, and also the water vending services will be able to use that same platform to be able to supply the water. The platform will be an app.
Engineer Thwita says that the move will also help in tracking illegal water vendors, a move that has been welcomed by the businessmen who say that it will help bring sanity to the sector.
We are encouraging them to sell water more, and we are also trying to get rid of those people who are not in good business. Those people who just come from anywhere. Somebody can come now from Machakos or from Kiabu or from Naivasha and start selling water, any quality water.
Most of the time we have been accused of not doing our work in the correct manner, maybe supplying water which is low standard, and maybe about the cost, you know, at this time, the cost. And within this platform, we are going to take everybody on board.
The regulations will apply to water tankers, exhausters, gated community water providers, private borehole owners engaging in community water supply, and non-governmental organization water projects. All the small-scale water service providers within Nairobi Metropolis are required to register for a license via the Athi River Works Development Agency website at no cost by the 15th of May 2020.
We have close to 5,000 boreholes in the city, and we also don't have a very good platform on where we can be able to log in and know exactly how many. So this time round, if you are if you are vending water from a borehole, there is a platform to be able to register the borehole as well.
Any person who shall provide water services without a license after the deadline will be liable for prosecution.
Now focusing on the state of security in the country, police in Naivasha are holding 7 suspects, including 4 women, for vandalism of streetlights, among other crimes. Naivasha Police Boss Samuel Waweru says the 7 suspects are assisting in trailing other gang members who have been raining terror on traders in the lakeside town and its environs. Elsewhere, truck drivers operating in Busia County are decrying increased theft of vehicle accessories in the region.
Police in Naivasha have moved in to rein on rising cases of insecurity, targeting businesses and public utilities around the town. 7 suspects, including 4 women, are in police custody for vandalism of streetlights across various estates.
Basi sasa wakaniambia sasa nitakuandika majina, nikaandikwa, wakachukua namba na bonga point. Nikaona hao ni official, wanafanya maneno officially. Na wakaniuliza sasa unataka hii vitu uletewe wapi? Nikamwambia mimi nakaa hapa Kehoto. Kwa hivyo nikaona wanaonekana ni officially. Sasa wakaniweza kuni confuse kidogo. Vile singeweza kuelewa, lakini naangalia naona hawa nina trust hawa, niko na wasichana kama hawa. Sifikiri wanaweza nitanganya.
Mama akaingia akaniambia habari zenyu, ninaweza jikinga ninaweza pumzika hapa kiasi. Sasa mimi ile out of goodwill nikamkaribisha akaketi. Kuketi hapo sasa akaanza kusema hamjai niona kwa TV mahali fulani. Nikashindwa huyu mama anaongelelea nini? Huyu mwingine mwenye alikuwa ananunua nguo akasema nimewahi kuona kwa TV, sijui naletanga station sijui ya kusaidia watu wagonjwa hivyo. Akasema fanyeni aje, wewe juu unanunua nguo, acha kununua nguo, keti hapa kidogo tuongee. Akaketi. Vile aliketi, aliniekelea mkono. Oh, Mungu anasema. From there, sijui nini ili happen, nilijipata stage bila pesa.
Naivasha town and its environs has witnessed increased cases of criminality in recent weeks, with various business outlets and homes broken into by criminals. This has been attributed to job losses following the COVID-19 pandemic that has seen industries and firms in Naivasha lay off workers. In the latest incident, the 4 women are accused of conning residents that they had connection for food rations from the government. The other 3 suspects were arrested in County Council Estate, vandalizing street lights and breaking into shops. According to Viwandani MCA Eric Gishuki, crime cases around the town had increased sharply since the curfew was introduced.
Na vandalism ambayo inafanywa sana sana ni ya public property, na sasa wakizima zile mulika mwizi in extension wanaenda vile vile wanafanya uhalifu usiku. So we are very happy for the activity ya polisi wetu kuweza kuwashika na kuweza kuwaleta hapa katika station. We expect further action itakiwe upon our vandalists.
Elsewhere in Busia, long-distance truck drivers exporting petroleum products and other goods to neighboring Uganda and Democratic Republic of Congo have protested against increased theft of batteries from their trucks at night. While the trucks are parked along Busia-Kisumu Highway, awaiting clearance at the customs office, the drivers say the suspects are taking advantage of dusk to dawn curfew and a huge snarl-up at Busia and Malaba borders to commit the crimes.
Saa 10 saa 9 hivi nikaamuka niangalie gari, nikawakisha mataa za gari juu asiwake, nikashindwa shida ni nini. Kushuka kwa garia betri hakuna, simeenda.
Meanwhile, residents of Gedhima village in Gatwanyaga ward, Kiambu County, have decried the escalating cases of cattle theft in the area. For the last month, the rampant burglary has seen over 10 homes raided and more than 300 sheep stolen. So alarming is the situation that the affected homes have been left without source of livelihood, as they entirely rely on livestock farming to put food on their tables.
Sioni maneno kama hiyo siku ingine. Inaona watu wanakuja usiku, makachukua mbuzi na makenda naye. Watu wakienda kufika ni makucha na buri moja. Hiyo ingine inapotea. Ilikuwa 16 ikakuja moja, ikakuwa 15 inaenda.
Tuseme vile mkora imeingia hapa, tutakuwa hatuna mbuzi hata moja kwa sababu wakora wanakuja wanaenda nazo. Kama kuna jamaa mwingine anaitwa Maina hapa, zaka ziliibiwa, za mzee mwingine anaitwa Washiko zikaibiwa. Kuna mbuzi zingine ilishikwa hapa zikipelekwa hivi.
Sasa tunaogopa juu tujui ile itatokea nyuma. Tutakuwa tukienda dukani juu tutaogopa juu tutakuwa tukishikwa hiyo mambo ikimalizika. Hata biashara tutakuwa tukikutwa tunyanyang'anywa pesa. Sasa tunataka tuangalio na macho kutoka kwa serikali. Nataka usaidizi.
Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
On the next episode of Elena's Ghost.
Get to the hospital. Come on, let's go. Let's get you settled.
No, Monte Cristo. No, I don't like this. This isn't how I wanted to have my baby.
Elena is in danger right now. We have to go back.
No, Nina.
I just saw Monte Cristo's car. It was in an accident not far from here.
What do you mean in an accident? Pancho, tell me where she is. Elena must be in danger. Tell me where she is.
I'm not leaving until you answer me. Until you look me in the eyes and tell me the truth.
Karina and I have decided to set a date for our wedding. We're going to get married.
Next on Corner.
I can't wait to face him in the ring again.
Sounds like a bromance in the ring.
Bromance.
Services will not be needed on this one.
But I'm the events manager of this place.
Pamela, stop being childish.
I borrowed some cash from moneylenders.
You mean loan sharks?
I had a plan.
What have you got against Wangoi? It's just odd how she's always helping homeless strangers, but is indifferent.
You tried scare tactics on your mother. Why? Because there were things in that file.
We now want to explore what has been trending in the world of business. We begin in the coffee sector. The government has secured 1.5 billion shillings to spur production of specialty coffee in 8 counties, responsible for 70% of the country's total production under the Coffee Revitalization Project. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya now says the World Bank grant will be used to, among others, market specialty coffee by linking farmers directly to buyers, thereby eliminating middlemen.
In an effort to boost coffee activities, Kenya embarked on a coffee revitalization action plan, which recommended interventions based on 8 pillars to address the challenge of the sector. This saw the government engage in various partners in a bid to revive the sector.
The president himself is the one who started these coffee reforms by appointing a task force that went around picking views and making recommendations. So actually what we are implementing now is the recommendations that emanated from that task force and the roadmap that was developed, which gave recommendation on certain components of reforms that required to undertake.
Speaking during the launch of the first phase of the Coffee Revitalization Project, targeting coffee-growing areas via video conferencing with governors from the coffee-growing counties, Agriculture CS Peter Munya said the fund will ensure increased coffee production, which has been dwindling over the years, by prioritizing specialty coffee in Murang'a, Kiambu, Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Machakos, Kirinyaga and Nyeri counties.
Because of the resources, we thought if we spread it across the country, we won't have the impact we wanted to have. And we said we start with the main coffee growing areas that consist of these 6 counties that grow 70% of the coffee in the country. And that will be phase 1. And then phase 2 is the rest of the counties that are not included here. So we have very specific interventions that will be undertaken to make sure that the production goes up and even the quality of coffee also increases. Of course, this will involve extension services, subsidy support, research, quality seeds, etc., etc. All measures that are geared towards increasing productivity and also increasing the volumes of coffee.
The fund will also be used to enhance efficiency along the coffee value chain and strengthen cooperatives.
Cooperatives have closed down, and we have had some interventions, especially on matters production, where we have spent about 15 million in provision of line.
Of course, it's improving the efficiency of the farmer cooperative societies. So we'll also be looking at the cooperative societies. How are they organized? What challenges do they have? How do we address the governance challenges that are there that have been making it difficult for the cooperatives to run? We'll also be looking even at the viability of some of those cooperatives.
Currently, Kenya produces 40,000 tons of coffee, which the CS says could be scaled to at least 100,000 tons by 4th quarter of the year. The World Bank will similarly support refurbishment of cooperatives to ensure automation.
The once a very lucrative cash crop, coffee, has been declining in production for many years now. But according to the Ministry of Agriculture, the new revitalization of coffee program is set to address challenges that include supply, production, and marketing. Alana Oko reporting for Channel 1 News in Nairobi.
Good news indeed for farmers in the coffee sector. Thank you, Alan, for that update. Now, the Capital Markets Authority has cautioned investors against participating in unlicensed and unapproved entities. This follows numerous inquiries regarding the status of a Saiton high-yielding fund, which according to CMA is among 6 unregulated funds operated by the firm. Complaints have ensued over the decision by Saiton's Board of Investors to push the redemption of yields by 90 days, causing jitters among investors.
The decision by the board of the Saiton High Yielding Fund has caused jitters among the 3,000 investors in the 10 billion shillings fund. According to Shiva Arora, head of private equity at Saiton, the decision to freeze payment of the yields was reached by the board of investors, which manages the fund, towards the end of last month. The board is made up of investors in the high-yielding fund and the Saiton project note. As of January this year, the two products were offering investors an annualized return of 13.7% to investors. Saiton says the decision was arrived last month by the board that manages the fund due to the slowdown in the real estate sector caused by the coronavirus pandemic. The two funds target investors with a minimum of 1 million shillings. A dispatch from the Capital Markets Authority says the only licensed entity is Saiton Asset Management Limited, which is licensed as a fund manager and a real estate investment trust manager. CMA further says the high-yielding fund and the Saiton project notes are not regulated by the authority, urging the public to consult Saiton for queries touching on the two products. Saiton High Yield Solutions is for short-term investors, while Saiton Project Notes is tailored for medium to long-term investments. The regulated products are not affected by the suspension of yields redemption. O'Brien Kiman for Business, NewsHour.
The price of U.S. oil has fallen to a 10-year low as demand dries up and storage runs out. Consequently, U.S. storage facilities are struggling to cope with the glut of oil that is weakening prices further. The oil market has come under intense pressure during the coronavirus pandemic with a huge slump in demand. Details of this and other stories in the International Business Roundup.
Earlier this month, OPEC members and its allies finally agreed on a record deal to slash global output by about 10%. The deal was the largest cut in oil production ever to have been agreed upon. Concerns continued to mount that storage facilities in the U.S. will run out of capacity, with stockpiles at Cushing, the main delivery point in U.S. for oil, rising almost at 50% since the start of March, according to ANZ Bank. The price of a barrel of West Texas Intermediate, the benchmark for U.S. oil, dropped 14% to $15.65 in Asia trading on Monday. Brent oil, the benchmark used by Europe and the rest of the world, was slightly weaker, down by 0.8% to $27.87 a barrel. The oil industry has been struggling with both tumbling demand and infighting among producers about reducing output. Meanwhile, Volkswagen says it has reached a settlement with 200,000 of the 260,000 claimants participating in a class action lawsuit brought about by German consumer group VZBV over the car maker's rigging of diesel emission tests. A further 21,000 cases are still being reviewed for possible payouts of 1,350 and 6,250 euros per car, and the deadline for participating in the settlement has been extended to April 30th. The exact amount depends on the age and model of the owner's car. The effort has cost Volkswagen more than $30 billion in vehicle refits, fines and provisions. Nearly all U.S. owners of affected cars agreed to take part in a $25 billion settlement in 2016 in the United States, but Volkswagen said there was no legal basis for consumers in Germany to seek compensation due to differences in law. Finally, China Development Bank Financial Leasing Company said on Monday it had agreed with Boeing to cancel the purchase of 29 undelivered 737 MAX jets, adding to a stringent cancellation from the grounded airplane. The model has been grounded globally for more than a year following the deadly crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia. CDB Financial Leasing said that all the 737 MAX 10 jets still on order will be switched to the smaller 737 MAX 8 model, and 20 deliveries will be deferred to dates in 2024, 2025 and 2026.
Time for us to take you into the world of sports. We begin here in Kenya. Former Football Kenya Federation Chair Sam Nyamweya says he will extend the term of office at the Kenya Premier League Limited if he wins the forthcoming FKF elections. Secretary General Omondi Aduda and former AFC Chairman Alex Olemagelo are among the other aspirants who have declared their interest in toppling the incumbent chair Nick Mwendwa. Nyamweya, who yesterday officially confirmed confirmed he will be contesting during the exercise, which is likely to be held after the coronavirus is contained, has now stated that he will extend KPL's term for stability and continuity, contrary to Mwendwa's intentions of doing away with it when their term of office expires in the month of May. Nyamweya further says he will work closely with other coaches and referees to improve the sport in the country. Also in contention for the top seat at FKF is former Federation Vice Chairman Twaha Mbarak, ex-Vihiga Governor Moses Akaranga, and Nairobi businessman Steve Mburu. Now, internationally, Manchester United are growing increasingly confident of signing Jadon Sancho and has reportedly already agreed personal terms with the Borussia Dortmund winger after months of secret talks. Elsewhere, Arsenal has made contact with Valencia to discuss a potential deal for Spanish forward Rodrigo.
Are growing increasingly confident of signing Jadon Sancho and has reportedly already agreed personal terms. Guarantees Sancho's brilliant performances have attracted interest from the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea, but it is United who are tipped favourites after making the England international their #1 target. Elsewhere, Arsenal has made contact with Valencia to discuss a potential deal for Spanish forward Rodrigo. The Gunners will be in the market for extra attacking reinforcements this summer. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Alexander Lacazette continue to be linked with moves away from the Emirates. Arsenal has already approached Valencia over Rodrigo, who could be available for around £50 million later in the year.
There you have it. You are now updated with the latest happenings in the country and beyond borders. Today in Kenya, we've recorded 281 cases of coronavirus and 14 deaths. It's a serious issue, guys, wherever you're watching us from. I know it's trying times, but just adhere to the guidelines that have been issued by the World Health Organization and the Ministry of Health to ensure that we are all safe and we are not part of the statistics. We can do our part. Just wash your hands, sanitize at every available opportunity, stay home if you can, avoid unnecessary travel, and avoid social gatherings that are not essential. Like today, 39 women were arrested right here in Nairobi for attending a wedding and not observing social distancing guidelines. Make sure that you do your part. Our stakeholders are also doing your part. Thank you so much for creating time for us tonight. My name is Serfine Achieng and our sign language interpreter has been Byron Abuli. Have a good night.